Welcome. Today I'm going to talk to you about eyewear, about glasses, contact lenses, and I will mention a few terms such as the eye disease cataracts. I will mention farsightedness, close and nearsightedness or short-sightedness, and I will mention bifocal lenses, progressive lenses, and transition lenses. And my speech begins now. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to talk about eyewear, so glasses or contact lenses. It's a topic that's evidently very important for many people. It's part of our daily lives. It certainly is of mine and has been for as long as I can recall. In fact, in the UK, statistics have it that between 69 and perhaps 77% of the population wear either glasses or contact lenses. I would like to take a little look to the future and the potential future developments of eyewear, but before I do that, I'm going to look back. Now, there have, most likely, always been people around with poor eyesight, either because they were born with some condition affecting their eyes, or because their eyes gradually deteriorated owing to old age. Now, of course, life expectancy used to be much shorter than it is now, so it is likely that poor eyesight was something that affected fewer people in the past than it does now. Still, even though this is a problem that's probably as old as mankind, it wasn't until the 13th or 14th century that the very first corrective lenses were invented. Now, initially, we weren't talking about glasses on your nose with frames such as the ones I'm wearing. We were talking about something that was a handheld device, probably much like a magnifying glass. It wasn't until the 19th century that frames were developed, frames that went on your nose with hooks or loops that connected around your ears for easy wear. Ever since frames were developed in the 19th century, there was a rapid diversification of the types of lenses you could have in those frames. First, bifocal lenses were developed, and bifocal lenses have different levels of magnification built in so that you could wear them both for seeing things that were far in the distance, but also for reading, so close up. Gradually, progressive lenses were also developed, and progressive lenses do the same thing as bifocal lenses, but there's not a sharp transition between the two different levels of magnification that are built into those lenses. Today, we also have something called transition lenses, which serve as sunglasses, and they're very useful for a person such as myself, who is prone to losing things as soon as I put them down. So my glasses, they go dark in bright sunlight, and I find that very helpful because then I don't need a separate set of sunglasses. Of course, we also now have contact lenses, which are very widely used, and there are many different types of contact lenses that serve various needs and purposes, and also lifestyle choices, because you can get them in colors, and with them you can change the color of your eyes to suit your mood. All of these developments have made life so much easier for people with poor eyesight. And of course, it's become much more common to wear glasses today or use contact lenses both because of the increase in life expectancy and because of the rising use of screens. It is widely accepted and that spending too much time perhaps staring at screens is detrimental for our eyesight. Now, where are we heading with glasses? Well, some have speculated, or some did speculate, that we may see a complete disappearance of the use of glasses or corrective lenses. Now, why did they make that prediction? Well, that prediction was made with the advent of laser surgery to correct eyesight. Corrective eye surgery was gradually developed, corrective laser eye surgery rather, gradually became developed about 40 years ago. Before then, any surgery on the eyes had to be done with a scalpel, so a tiny little knife that would be used to cut into your cornea. Now, that type of surgery was not and is not terribly popular, because who wants a knife poked in their eyes? Not many people, not voluntarily. But with the development of laser surgery, corrective eye surgery has become much more common. You probably know someone who's had laser eye surgery. Why is it popular? Well, mostly it works. It's quite effective. It's become relatively cheap. Recovery is quick, and it's a relatively easy surgery to undergo for all those reasons. And of course, it is much less traumatic than having somebody poke around in your eyes with a knife. But will this really spell the end for glasses? Will we not see people walking around with frames on their noses, or having to carry around their contact lens cases and change their contact lens cases their contact lenses at the end of the day or the week or the month, depending on the contact lenses they wear? Well, no, probably not. Laser surgery does have its limitations. Laser surgery on your eyes is most effective when you are between the ages of 20 and 40. It's also more effective for people who are short-sighted than for people who are long-sighted or far-sighted. What about other age ranges? Well, laser surgery is mostly not recommended for people under the age of 20 because their eyes are still developing. And laser surgery becomes less effective once you hit 40, because after 40, your eyes start to progressively deteriorate, which means that the laser surgery will not be as successful, or is not as likely to be as successful, and the results are not likely to last for as long. Of course, later in life, eye surgery becomes more common again, but then for other reasons. After the age of 60, laser surgery is often more about curing a disease rather than correcting your eyesight. So it is, for example, used to cure or improve cataracts, and it can be very efficient. So, having said all of this, will glasses disappear? No, probably not today, and most likely not tomorrow, though we are very likely to see more new, better discoveries. I, personally, would like to say that I am very grateful, and I can say this by way of conclusion. I'm grateful to have been born at this time when access to eyewear was available. I'm grateful also to have been born in a wealthy country where access to eyewear was easy. That does not mean that I always rejoiced in wearing glasses as a child or as a teenager. I sometimes found it uncomfortable, and sometimes found that it, really wasn't in keeping with the latest fashion. It wasn't considered very chic or fashionable to wear glasses. Though even that has also changed and there are very high-end brands or fashion brands, fashion houses that today also produce frames. Some of them are eye-wateringly expensive. For me, it's mostly about the fact that wearing glasses has allowed me to access reading, driving, all of those things that we might take for granted if we were born with 20/20 eyesight. If I had been born 200 years ago, I would have been considered probably to be a person with a disability, and I would not have had any access to education because my eyesight is so poor that it would not have allowed me to participate fully in daily life or in education. So, though it may not always have been something that I considered chic, glasses have never been an accessory that I have left home without. Thank you very much for your attention.